Necessarily, but just disinterest in the MCU lately. It takes a community. It takes the writing of all of it. Mark, you seem ready to say something.
Oh yeah, I agree with that point. I just I think the best villains we had was just like Killmonger and Thanos. It was just like we got those two. Other than that, it's like before then it was like what else was there? Well, that was like
again.
I
said a few 10 minutes ago.
Y'all can hash it out yourselves.
Okay, yeah.
I'll sit here and just
gotcha.
Watch.
All right.
Because I feel a storm coming.
Yes. Again, I think right like.
Because granted, fine. Maybe it was a fall off because Phase 3 didn't end with Killmonger and Thanos.
All right.
So there. Okay.
Because I said the whole thing 20 minutes ago, and then you just completely ignored that, talked about the villains being like, again, I don't understand why I have to defend the point that, yes, this is a failing grade on the MCU now. We have said this for 3 years, yet you're defending it. I don't know what the fuck has changed. You're like, yeah, the villains here have been great.
I'm just saying it's always been a problem, that's why.
No, they were in Phase 1. Remember, it was Iron Man versus a bigger Iron Man. You had fucking Hulk versus basically other Hulk, which obviously comics, I know it's not, but whatever. Thor, no one fucking gives a fuck about Thor, the first one, and then you had fucking, what was the fourth one? Captain America. Red Skull was interesting, but not interesting enough to be as dynamic as, I don't know, all of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Phase 2. Phase 2 evolved things, again, that's what I'm saying, is that Phase 2 evolved things. Phase 3, here's what I'm going to say, Captain America Civil War. The idea of an antagonistic force not only being between the heroes themselves, but then having the Winter Soldier, who was on the upswing of hopefully being on a good side eventually, falling into the situation where our core hero, Iron Man, is now against him completely because of what happened, is interesting and well written and builds the arc between Captain America and Iron Man. That was a critical growth. Doctor Strange, again, Dormammu, whatever you think, the situation was, that last 10 minutes was an interesting, it's how you close it. Is it an interesting character? Yes, because of how it was closed as well. Guardians Volume 2 was, again, the father. The fact that the father went through all of that, the fact that it involved Mantis, the way that we finally get Peter's backstory, all of that was well executed and built on the team, but built mostly on Peter Quill, and helps us understand why he finds himself so emotional in Infinity War. It helps us understand who he is as a character. Spider-Man Homecoming is just is an interesting idea. He is not one of the best villains, but I will say that it grows on the fact that you reference something from the past, you pull on that from the viewership perspective, you have a character that clearly does not like heroes, and you increase on that. Okay, Thor Ragnarok, that was a great villain. I don't know what else to tell you.
I don't remember anything about her.
You don't remember Hela, whatever the fuck her name is?
I remember that character design.
You remember the character, right? You remember the character design. You're telling me that Phase 3 was not, that's what I'm saying. And then you had, Black Panther, like we said before. We get then, obviously, I'm not talking about Infinity War.
What was the villain, Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I don't remember that one was, what's her name? Ghost. And that was just, again, that was a misstep. But, you're talking about that whole lineup of Phase 3. That was a very strong lineup. I don't know what else to tell you. You move into Phase 3 up to Infinity War, they were on a perfect batting average. They were making the point is, the best villains strengthen your heroes. The best villains, if you're looking for something like the MCU, build into the next step. And that has not happened in Phase 4 and 5. These are, or they're not, I'm sorry. And the last thing is they're written all the way through to the end with high quality. This has not happened in MCU Phase 4 and 5. A lot of TV shows, CGI battle at the end, right? And everyone said it to the point where it's been fucking tradition. Flag smashers, like I said before, don't even have really a point at all. It's not really a good point. They're terrorists and it just doesn't work. And having Falcon at the end defend them when they're terrorists doesn't help in the case of having people.
So you don't like where the villains just end?
No, I literally just said 3 points, and I think you took the last point, and then you just said yeah.
No. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like this is like you just don't like where the villains end.
I think all is important if you are trying to strengthen your core character. The core character involved in the feature, the viewers, the audience, which is here for a continual series that is going into the next one that has to impact that.
I know. For me, it's not like. It's a story problem. For me, it's not like the villain. If the villain is
no, you're changing the entire fucking. You're changing the fucking yard line now. You're changing it. It's like now it's like for me.
I was not. I'm telling you where my yard line was. You bring it to other places.
Let me talk about this, Marvel.
Well,
I was telling you where my. This is like the same problem we were having downstairs. I'm trying to tell you where my yard line was. I'm not. Some of these points I'm not arguing. What I'm arguing is like this is just like a terrible villain all around in terms of concept.
That's
in this movie,
said.
the Marvels. We're talking about the Marvels.
Yes, and all I'm saying, and I don't know why, you're like all I'm saying is Phase 3. We all agreed. I don't know when this changed. Phase 3 was the high benchmark. Great films, great villains, great characters, great progression. Everything was on top. In fact, it was so good, Taika Waititi had not fucked up yet. That's how good it was. I don't know when we got to the point when Phase 4 and 5 were thought of as, well, the villains have not gotten worse. The villains have gotten infinitely worse. The villains don't even make fucking sense in a lot of these things. And the structure of the stories are ruined at times because the villains are so pathetic. It is critical that these villains are good. And I think that matters. I think that it matters, and I think that Phase 4 and 5 have worse villains, headlined by this bitch, who is not good at all. She is terrible, and again, this goes back to the writing, which is atrocious, like, for this character.